hello. Welcome to Jazz After Dark on a Friday. We had a good week, always good. Short week, right? Just kind of went by quick. But hope you guys had a good week, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday night. If you're watching this on a Friday night, this is Jazz After Dark, where we just chill a little bit, hang out. I'm currently going through a Widow Jane click here, so really enjoying the Widow Jane so far. It's very, very spicy. We talked about it the other day. But if you're looking for a little something extra, I don't know what it costs. It was a gift, actually, for the holidays. I don't know what it costs, but I feel like it's mid to high end there, because I had it at a hotel one time, and I know they're pricier there, but I think it was more expensive, but very good, right? Not for the average sort of beginner bourbon / whiskey player out there, right? So be careful, tread lightly. There's your warning, right? That's worth a like and subscribe. Anyways, I've been playing with something, and I don't know that this is it, but I always say get your dough straight. Well, about a year ago, I started working out what would each letter mean. You know how people do that? You remember acronyms and stuff, very popular in the aviation community. But I said, well, dough straight, that's got to mean something. And I always envision people's finances and their progress through their financial life as being two stages. The first stage is sort of prepping you to strike, the little bit of the knowledge, a little bit of the preparation, getting all the garbage out of the way, And then the second phase being, all right, let's go for it, right? Nothing can stop me. If I get hit, I'll only go back a half step. I won't get put back in the doghouse and have to start over. And so I always viewed it that way, and I was just sitting here playing with some stuff. I figured I'll make this the topic of my video because I do believe this, and I do believe this sort of order or path, but I'm not one to make it super stringent. You have to have flexibility on your life because it's just impossible to guess what's best for you and all the people that I can't actually see right now. So let's get started. Getting your dough straight. This is how I always write it out. Actually, if you go to doughstraight.com, that's our website, or it's one of our websites. So we start with the D here. And I always start with this, even though I've kind of got it cleaned up and prepped for you. You always start by developing your initial retirement plan. Please keep in mind before anybody comments on this, this is not an action plan. This is just a development plan. It doesn't mean you're going to do anything with any of your dollars. We just want to know what it's going to take, because you always start with anything financial. Start with the thing furthest out in life. You ever notice how you'll have like Apple, the way they sell their bonds? Do you guys follow that? Right? They're always looking furthest out, cost them the most. So they're looking to roll what's furthest out, shorter in duration or closer in time. So you think about that with your money. I always say, think about your money just like big corporate companies think about theirs. Don't get mad at them for, maybe they pay tax, maybe they don't, but let's learn what it is that you can incorporate as well. So developing an initial retirement plan. Now we have our own planner now that clients can use right on our website there that helps you get started. Your goals are to only save what you need for retirement. I will not go through our retirement planner again. It's on the website. You're able to use it if you're one of our clients. It's in your portal. We just launched it. It's awesome. Charlie did a great job. But I just want you to focus on only figuring out that number, which means you're going to have to commit to some things. You're going to have to commit to what do you need to live on in retirement. That means that you might already have to have a good understanding of your current budget. When do you stretch it a little bit, right? When are you really good with it, and when do you sort of fall off the reservation, as they say? Save only what you need for retirement. Please remember that. And the sort of second layer to that is, you know how much to save. Let's start with a little bit of a plan on where you're going to save it. We're not taking action yet. And actually, it says it down here. Not necessarily a plan of action. This just allowing us to make a rough draft of what we plan to do. So the D in dough straight is develop that initial retirement plan, because I guarantee you it's going to change. But we're not going to be millions of dollars off, right? We're going to be within a range there. You may change your retirement year. You may need to spend a little more in retirement. You get what I'm saying, right? All right. The O in retirement is for optimizing your initial strategy with the dough you have. This is not your retirement side. Now we're going to separate from the develop initial plan for a second. We all have different means. We all have family members that have more money, they're going to leave you, or some people just don't have that sort of luck, and they're going to have to build their own wealth. So we're going to take what we have, you, your family, you and your spouse, you if you're on your own, whatever, and we're going to start figuring out what are the initial strategies that will ultimately make the best use of what I have. It sort of is a pet peeve of mine when people say, there's two sides to the fence, right? If you want to get your dough straight, then, you got to cancel your gym membership and do push-ups at home or something and start cutting costs. All right. And then there's the other side that says you can't cut your costs, but only so far, right? You got to go make more. Well, that's the natural contrarian argument to that, and I get why that's being made. But truthfully, it's one or the other unless you got a famous uncle that's leaving you money, right? So what we want to do is kind of focus on what is it that we're going to do to optimize that strategy there. We only have limited resources. Now, when I say optimize, that's a very general term, right? I just got mad at you guys yesterday for saying maximize, right? We're talking about if you're one that wants to pay off debt, all debt, then what's the plan? How do we organize that? How do we actually figure out that so many dollars go here, then here, then here, then here? Is it the Dave Ramsey, what does he call it? The avalanche or something like that? Where you do the snowball. You do the thing over and over again, and you take the extra dollars and move them forward or whatever. Susie Orman used to talk about that too. Is it just one debt that's really pissing you off and you're just going to go figure that out? Okay. Well, what's the plan with that debt? We're talking tax strategies here. You're going to have to get a little smarter with your tax strategies, right? How many of you can go on TikTok and have like a whole favorites of saved videos of a dog howling to his favorite song or a magic trick? I'm a sucker for the magic tricks, right? We tend to focus and learn about the stuff that we like. You're going to have to learn a little bit more about taxes. What's the strategy there? And it could be where you put your money. Your alternative approaches to hit your goals. Now, when we're optimizing the money that we have to hit a particular goal, remember, this doesn't have to be retirement. This could be that you want to be a great landlord one day and have, dozens and dozens of properties. It could be that you have a business, you've always wanted to start it, and you're like 36 and your kid's now like, 11. And so you're like, oh, next like 5 years, she'll be a little bit older and won't like me anyways. So I'd like to have the money to start my business. What are you going to do? Are you going to work a little bit more? Are you just going to wait the 5 years? How's that going to go? And this is really a learning stage. I've made some focus points here for you. It's really a learning stage and I should put this one first, to start networking. Talk to people that you know that have been through it. Maybe they're older than you, but maybe they happen to have the same experience. That's the most important right there. One of my favorite viral videos to watch is when somebody says, what do you do for a living? And the guy's like, I make electrical conduit for, manufacturers. And you go, what? Like, that's a thing? I just assumed that just was there. I don't know. Right? And then they go, what advice do you have for somebody that wants to do something that's kind of weird like that you wouldn't normally think of? And they give you that advice. Well, go find people that are doing what you're doing, what goals that you have, and shoot with that. If you're not already working with an advisor, a tax strategist, and or a planner, get some freaking help. It is the tax strategists, they can be pricey, I'll give you that. But maybe that fits you. Maybe you have the means that are much larger than the average person. A financial planner, someone that just lays out a plan for you, not very expensive. They range anywhere from $500 to $5,000 depending on how advanced you want to go. And again, you can shop around. We're obviously advisors here. We don't charge things for you. We just say, let us manage your account. And if we do well and your account grows, we'd like to participate in that. And if it doesn't do well, then we have to do well, right? We have to find a way to get things to go well for you. We don't charge like, hey, we're going to make it so it's like $100 a month or something. We don't do that. So that's your focus point for optimizing what you have. Too many people that have these things like that I'm trying to make here where they say, oh, there's a path. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Okay, it's too specific. This is the point where you stop and you get help and you figure out what are you capable of, what are you willing to do, and what do you have access to. So work with that. And then H, this is again the DOH. Again, this is sort of the first phase, getting set up to strike, right? So this is not like, go pay off this credit card, then go over here and pay off this house, right? This is not like that. This is giving you room to breathe and learn. So I always envisioned the last part of phase one would be that you only hold the debt that makes sense for you to hold if you want to hold any debt at all. So I suggest and would say at the most, you hold your mortgage debt, any income debt, or tax strategy debt. That's it. Now that gets a little bit more specific than I know anybody's ever gotten for this, so let me explain. We're using debt that grows your wealth or positions you to start building that wealth that you're shooting for or hit the goal that you're shooting for. We want to act like a corporation and make sure that the debt that we have is competitive. Remember the Apple example I gave you? They found out that debt that they had 20 years out in the future cost them more than if they just roll it forward and take it 2 years out in the future. They needed more competitive debt because they could, and so they rolled it forward. Is there any way for you to make sure that your debt is as competitive and focused to what you're trying to achieve? It's okay if you want to have debt. That's my belief anyways, but it can't be willy-nilly credit card debt and I got a retail credit card or whatever. No. And the goal of all this is not very well laid out, but the goal of this is so that you are always in a position to borrow when and if you want to, not when you have to. That's like, if you could take one thing away from this, when you borrow because you have to, what's going to cost you? And I'll give you a story in just a second about a family member that I am currently neglecting because they want to borrow when they have to. And so I'm unfortunately being a bit of a mean person, but I'll share that with you if you want to stick around. Focus points here for holding only mortgage, income debt, or tax strategy debt is first, go with what helps you sleep at night. Some of you will watch this and say, no debt is good debt. I'm with you. That's fine. I don't believe that, but I'm with you. Some of you will say, all right, this makes sense. I'm cool with that. Others will say, I'd be willing to hold maybe this classic car. I just didn't want to pay cash, so I got a loan for it. And hey, man, it's only 2%. Okay, that's fine. Go within your debt beliefs. As long as we can work around it and you can sleep at night, I will make it happen. The idea, this is what I was saying earlier, this is your final moment to make sure you are fully positioned to strike for what will eventually be this, right? This is the advanced stage right here. So we want to make sure that we're in the best possible position. And by this point, you should have a pretty solid, moderately advanced understanding of what you need to do so that your questions are not like we talked about the other day. Dustin, how do I maximize my retirement savings? What does that mean? That's a very general question. How do we get more detailed about that? You should be at that point by then, all right? So there you go. I just thought that was fun. I literally just put that together. It's been in my head for a while. The D has been there for a while because we actually built our retirement planner. I'll show you a mock-up. It looks much different than this now, but this was the mock-up that I made of our now retirement planner. So I had basically, this doesn't work. This is just an image. I built it all up and I said, Charlie, the D in get your dough straight stands for develop an initial plan. We need to allow people to have access to develop their initial plan. So this was actually version 1 of what it was going to look like. And if you're a client, well, now you know what it looks like. It's obviously much more advanced and capable than where we started. So that's all thanks to Charlie, by the way. That's all I have for you. You're welcome to roll on if you got places to be. Does anybody have, I'll vent for a second. Does anybody have a family member who's still struggling to find their way? Financially, personally, right? Sure you do. We all do. Whether you think you do or you don't, we all do. I have a family member that found their way to town. They were in town. I had no idea. They were here. And they didn't tell me. So they obviously didn't want to see me. And what happened was, while this family member was in town, their girlfriend decided to leave. And of course, the family member lied about why they left and went back home, which was many, many, many states away. And so you never really got the full story. Well, now this family member is stuck in town. not too far away. And their other girlfriend can't come pick them up until this weekend. And so the family member that's in town has their driver's license and phone, and that's it. They have no credit cards, no real cash or anything, like $40, and they're stuck. And other family members reached out to me and said, hey, this person would love to see you while they're in town. And I thought, oh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, I didn't know they were here. Come to find out, the only reason they want to see me is because I'm the last of what they have available. They reached out to their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their friends, all of their friends, and not one of them would help them out, get them on a bus, get them on a train, get them on a plane, get them on an Uber, get them on a rental car so they could get home. Nothing? Get them a hotel room while they're here? And so this family member is literally sitting in a homeless shelter about 35 minutes away. Now, before you say anything, I have heard many stories, and so this family member is not welcome in my house. And you can call me a mean person or whatever, but that's already out of the question. The part that bothers me is that the family member only wants to see me now, still has yet to physically tell me they're in town. I had to find out. They only want to see me now because they need help. They need money, right? They're living in a homeless shelter. Well, they're not living, they're just sleeping there, I guess. So what? Like when you think old Dustin's got it all put together, hey, he's doing all right. Know that there are people that make decisions with their money you just can't imagine. If, not counting you guys, because I know you'd help me out if I was stuck in your town, right? But I don't have a lot of friends, but I have at least 6 friends that if I got stuck in another town, I'll bet you I could even lie to them about why I'm there. I could ask them for probably a first-class ticket to get me home, and they would do it, knowing I'm good for it. So that means that this family member has exhausted all their resources. I haven't talked to them in 20 years, maybe longer. They've exhausted all their resources. Not one person was willing to help them. What has this person been doing with their lives that for 20 years, they've burned so many bridges that now they have to rely on someone that they don't even know anymore? So I don't say that to make you reminisce about maybe family members that have been in a similar situation. But when you think you can't do something and it's too hard and, oh man, I don't know the right people. I don't know how to get something done. I don't know who to ask. Just remember that you probably have not burned many bridges and people are willing to help. As long as you're nice and friendly and obviously supportive and prove that you're a good person, you'll always have the help that you need to get to that next stage. Maybe I'm the person that you ask about something that's bugging you financially. I'm happy to help. If I find out you're one of those people that leave those stupid comments on there or one of those chat bot things, all right, we're done. But for the most part, people call all the time and I'm like, look, I can't give you advice legally, but I can tell you who I would call if I were you because it sounds like this is the problem you have. So maybe that's me. Just know that you can ask people for help, but my God, am I wrong? I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now. Am I wrong to be like, no, you enjoy your time over there at your, whatever that place is called, and you sit and wait until you can get a ride home. Is that tough? I would do it if it was my daughter too, so you can tell me I'm dead inside. I already know that. But, that's just crazy. So literally right at this very moment, they're just sitting there. Wish them well. All right, enjoy the rest of your evening, and sorry for the bringing that out there, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate, and I'm sure they'll be just fine. There's a young one. He's a younger kid, right? So he's got plenty of time to make more mistakes and stuff. I think he's in his 20s, so probably be good for him to sit there and think, right? Yeah, so now that comes from Bruce Williams, by the way. So maybe Dave Ramsey would say that, but if you ever watch Bruce Williams, well, you can't watch him, he was a radio host. But if you ever listen to him, oh, he was tough. I grew up with that. Right? I was like 11 years old listening to Financial Talk. Bruce Williams, man. Was it Skynet or NBC Net, I think it was. And he was tough. I love it. It's a little piece of me that wants to be like that, but I can't. I got a heart inside of me. All right, enjoy your weekend. We will see you again next week. Adios.